team would like to thank all of our friends and fellow Morningside family who prayed for us. Upon receiving our 5 negative PCR test results, we boarded our flight in Greenville on Tuesday afternoon, September 21st, to Atlanta. After flying 18-plus hours with a brief layover in Paris, we arrived in Nairobi, Kenya at 9:30 in the evening on the September 22nd. Jean and Angie had provided us with a beautiful hotel for that evening and for every day thereafter. The next morning, we flew on Kenya Airlines to Kisumu, and we were greeted by Pastor Wilson Maungo. Pastor Wilson has been a national missionary with IGM located in Rochester, New York, since around 1990. I have known of Pastor Wilson's ministry since 2005 when we joined IGM. However, this was my first opportunity to personally visit Wilson's ministry. Brother Wilson oversees an orphanage and more than 130 independent Baptist churches in Kenya. They also have a Bible college to train the national pastors and future leaders. Brother Wilson is the chairman of Independent Gospel Missions Fellowship of Kenya, IGMK. Upon our arrival at Kisumu, Pastor Wilson took us to an animal sanctuary where we saw leopards, monkeys, a large tortoise, guineas, baboons, zebras, lions, and many other exotic African animals, including a boat ride on Lake Victoria where we watched 4 hippos swimming near our boat, expecting any minute that one of them would swim underneath us and splash us into the lake. Pastor Wilson had loaded our itinerary so full that this was our first and only opportunity to do any sightseeing. We were told that to the north of where we were located, the Nile River emptied into Lake Victoria. It was a beautiful day and a great way for Pastor Wilson to begin our trip. Jean and Angie have been supporting 4 of Wilson's orphans for about 3 years, and they wanted to meet their orphans firsthand. Jean and Angie not only wanted to visit their orphans, but they saw this as an opportunity to spread the gospel. Thus they graciously invited Brother Dave and myself and provided all our expenses to travel with them and their grandson Noah to Kenya. I welcomed Jean and Angie's invitation and viewed the opportunity as fulfillment of God's promise to me in 1992 to enlarge my coast, now into Africa. 1 Chronicles 4:10. God provided a well-rounded team. Jean and Angie's grandson Noah, with his musical abilities on the ukulele and harmonica, were a huge attraction wherever we went. Young and old were greatly blessed by the godly testimony and music that he provided. Our trip was an extremely rewarding and blessed experience. We spent the next 11 days visiting numerous churches and orphanages and orphans in Pastor Wilson's home area of Kitale. Many of Pastor Wilson's orphans are supported, but a much larger number are unsupported. 26 years ago, because of a little baby girl whom we met personally, seen in the photo in the red dress, being laid on Pastor Wilson's doorstep, his orphan ministry began and has grown to what it is today. The needs abound. Maybe God would touch your heart to help. Just contact IGM at igmgo.org, and we have also provided you an information handout sheet. Please take it home and pray if God would have you to help. In total, we were introduced to more than 30 pastors. Each day we had meetings in churches or schools. One highlight was when we were given permission to visit a secular high school of more than 400 students, and all of our team shared their testimonies. Another highlight was when 8 souls making professions of faith at one of our local church meetings were baptized. During the final session of each day, Angie would meet with the ladies, and the men would meet together for a question and answer time to discuss the teaching and topics of that day. 5 of the Kenyan pastors and 2 ladies did all of our interpreting. The main language of Kenya is Swahili, but English is the second language. A large number of the Kenyan people can read and speak English. Most of the 42 Kenyan tribes have their own dialects. On Tuesday, October 6th, we departed Kitale and drove 3 hours to Bungoma for the Pastors and Leaders Conference. A group of pastors from Uganda were unable to attend due to COVID restrictions. Our conference was in jeopardy, but because of a believer that was in charge of the police force locally and who knew Pastor Wilson personally, we were able to conduct our conference. God is so good. Pastors had come from as far away as 350 kilometers from North Kenya to attend. Pastor Julius Kadengi came a full day's journey by bus from southeast Kenya near Mombasa. Julius and I first met in America in 2006 when we traveled together with IGM into American churches. Because of the generosity of God's people in America, we were able to present Julius with a new computer that had been provided through our VBN ministry. The 500 conference books were provided by our VBN National Indian Pastors. My daughter and the Learning Cycle on Woodruff Road in Greenville had donated several sets of Becca flashcards for teaching children and adults. We distributed these useful tools to many pastors and leaders.
Oh, here they are. Look at them.
They're waiting on us.
Yeah, they're just waiting.
Did you call them and tell them we were coming?
They're just waiting.
I think they're singing for you. So
Jean and Angie had brought 6 suitcases of gifts for the orphans and the people in general. Wherever we went, they were able to share clothing, toys, school supplies, candy, and much more. The Kenyan people are extremely poor in comparison to us in America. Village life in Kenya is very similar to India. Their houses are usually made from mud, and their lives are very simple. The children are often undernourished. One village lady brought her baby to our meeting and had the child laying on the ground. So Brother Gene, being the servant that he is, improvised using a wheelbarrow. We found that the African music and spirit was refreshing. The people highly respected Americans. The people sang with gusto. They were well acquainted with our American hymns and songs. We provided some excellent mission songs and hymns in the conference book that they greatly enjoyed and picked up very quickly. The ladies' voices were well trained. Pastor Dave emphasized holy living, and I focused on missions. I challenged the Kenyan pastors and leaders that it was not by accident that 85% of their country were professing Christians. I challenged them to send the missionaries throughout all of Africa and beyond. Many of the delegates were deeply moved with our vision. In the rear of our conference book, we put our 1040 window prayer calendar for them to use daily. There are printed copies available for each of you to begin using daily. Besides Asia, many of the countries listed on our 1040 calendar are in Africa. Since we returned from Kenya, Pastor Wilson wrote me on WhatsApp, "Brother, we're on fire, and our brethren, God is using them so powerfully to point lost souls to the Savior. They are reading the conference book and asking questions. Since you left, we have been to 3 different places. Last Sunday, we planted a new independent Baptist church northeast of Kitale. We visited 2 churches, and we encouraged them to keep their eyes on Jesus, and all shall be well with them. We're so glad that you and the team had an opportunity to visit. You indeed challenged our hearts and left us blessed and refreshed. Thanks, and God bless." The last day we were at the conference, Pastor Hillary, Pastor Wilson's assistant, brought a family that were Muslims and all 6 of them were born again. The father, his wife, 3 daughters, and 1 son all made professions of faith during the invitation. The father even came forward and testified. Because of COVID requirements, we were forced to leave the conference 2 days early to get our PCR testing done. During our 16-day visit, scores of gospel tracts were given out, and according to Brother Gene's calculations, at least 103 people made professions of faith. One of the last decisions that we are aware of was at the Kisumu airport as we waited for our flight. Angie led Diana to Christ. We provided follow-up brochures to all of those making decisions at our meetings. To God be all the glory, great things He is doing.